I just want to tell you a little bit about June's background so you know who she is, and it's amazing. So I'm sorry we can't see you, but June has been an educator for 10 years, teaching a variety of subjects, which include dream interpretation and new authors prep. She's helped countless individuals realize what their dreams were truly trying to communicate to them about their lives. Her new authors class is uniquely designed to help individuals launch their first book. So she's got a wide variety of topics that she
My
covers. And
friend, how are you
tonight,
today?
she's going to talk to us about her course called
Doing great, man. I
Dream
was just about
101.
Can you guys see my screen?
Sure can.
Yeah, we can.
Okay. Well, at least that works. So let me go to play from current slides. So I'm gonna have to really make this quick because I have to be with another group at 8:30, which is 9:30 your time. So as you guys were talking before about dreams and how they're so important for your life, I teach from a faith-based perspective, and that God talks to us. One of the primary ways is through our dreams. So these are the top 5 dream rules. I'm kind of even starting my introduction in a truncated way. Forgive me. I'm going to figure out what's wrong with my camera. I've got to, because I got to use. I'm sure I'll in StreamYard. Hopefully, I'll be okay at 8:30. But anyway, 5 rules for the dreamer. Number 1, the dream is about you. A lot of times, most people make the mistake of thinking that because they're dreaming about another person, excuse me, the dream is about that person. Most of the time, the dream is about the dreamer, and the people in the dream represent something about yourself, either something about your personality, a habit that you have, something that you have parallel to the person in the dream. That's a message for you, but the dream typically is about the dreamer. The exception to this rule is if you are like myself, someone who can interpret dreams, or if you happen to have a prophetic gift and God gives you dreams about other people for intercession or for messages or for different reasons. Number 2, whatever room the dream begins in, it sets the storyline of the dream. So, for instance, living room means it's something about current events, because living room, where you're living at now. If it starts in the bedroom, God is telling you something that typically either only you and him know, or something intimate that you don't even know at all that he's trying to show you. So wherever the dream starts, that's typically sets the theme of the dream. Number 3, things from your past will be represented by rear things and past residences. It's very common for you to have a dream about the house you grew up in, or your grandfather or grandmother's house. The dream will start out in a house from your past, or you're in the back seat of a car and everything happens in the rear seat, or behind the house. Everything happens in the backyard. Most of the time, this is representing something from your past. Rule number 4, if an animal is in your dream, their nature should be factored in. In other words, for instance, a raccoon, what does that represent? Something nocturnal, something at night, only seen at night. So that means this is something hidden in your life, something you may not know about. That's the same thing if there's a snake in your dream. You would never know a snake is in your house unless you see it. So a snake represents something that is covert, or another thing, the snake represents a person. And a lot of times animals can represent an individual, and that individual carries the same characteristics of that animal. Someone who is a betrayer, deceptive, that's what a snake is. Number 5, often people in your dream represent everything but themselves. And I kind of combine that with the first rule because I want to reiterate that to let people know, please know the dream is about your life. And you have to think about what is going on in my life right now that correlates to this dream. I tell people, when you wake up, immediately write the dream down. even if you get up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, jot 2 or 3 things down that will help you remember the dream. Because a lot of times people wake up in the morning and say, I had a dream, but oh my gosh, I can't remember it. If you write down 1 or 2 things, it'll jog your memory. Now, I always go over people in your dreams. It's very customary for deceased relatives to show up in your dreams within the first 1 to 3 months of you putting them to rest. I don't know why that's the timeline, but it's happened over and over and over again with people, even myself, that have put someone to rest and they end up showing up in your dreams. Most of the time, I will say this, that is not your relative. You are not talking to your husband, your father, your daughter. Unfortunately, you are talking to a spirit that is representing that person. And it's not a good thing to have a conversation back and forth with that spirit, because it's not a spirit of God. This is a spirit from darkness. It's evil. And they naturally are going to take on the form of your relative, because if they came the way they really look, it would scare the wits out of you and you wouldn't let them into your life. You wouldn't have a conversation with them. And every single time they're going to give you information that is going to make you trust them. So it's going to be a good message. It's going to be something that relates to your life currently, something to gain your trust. So you'll keep talking to them and allowing them to come back into your life, into your dream realm. But remember, that is not your relative. Now I'm going to skip this and go to rooms in dreams. These are the most common rooms that show up in your dreams: your kitchen, your bedroom, your bathroom, your basement, your attic, your roof, and your living room. Now, the kitchen, believe it or not, represents things concerning your heart. Kitchen is where we put things together. We make composition of things, and we prepare meals, because what do we say? The way to a man's heart is through his stomach. I don't know who made that up, that crazy saying, but that's something that we use to get people to understand that even though it doesn't make sense, when the dream is in the kitchen the entire time, it is about matters of the heart. Bedroom, as I mentioned before, is something intimate, something secret, something only you and God know, or something that you don't know at all that needs to be revealed to you. Bathroom, God has a sense of humor. Most of the time, this means that something needs to be gotten rid of in your life. That's where we get rid of stuff, in the bathroom. Bathroom is cleansing, deliverance. Him telling you this needs to be taken out of your life. You need to get rid of this. Basement. Basement can be many, many different things. It can represent a demotion. It can represent, with some people struggling with an addiction, God will speak to them, because that's the base part of your life. Basement also can be something that you have no idea is lurking in your life. People come into your house, they never see your basement. You don't typically take people to the basement unless it's something like a man's cave or a rec room or something like that. But most of the time when you have company, they stay above the basement floor. So the basement are secrets, things that the Lord is talking to you about or showing you. The attic is your mind. It's the highest point of a building, of a structure, of a house typically. And so whenever you have a dream about an attic, it's about things going on in your mind. One time there was a person that had a lot of bats in the attic in this dream. Some of the bats were dead. Some of them were flying around. Some of them were like limping, walking around. And the Lord was telling that person that they were having, it wasn't mental illness, but they were neglecting the purpose of their life, and their mind wasn't being used. Bats are rodents, flying rodents, filth, nothing good. And the Lord was showing that person how they weren't using their mind. And it was like the saying, having bats in the attic, like you're not doing anything with your mind. You're letting your gift go to waste. You're not walking in your purpose. Roof can be the same thing. It can be your mind, or It's the top of an organization. Or the roof can represent a husband because the husband is the covering of the family, covers the wife. If you have a leaking roof, it can mean that the husband is lacking in some area of their life. Or it can also represent prayer that's lacking. If a roof is leaking and a person is in ministry, that represents that there's a problem with their prayer life. Their prayer life is very weak and the roof is leaking. And I mentioned what living room was before. Now, literal versus symbolic. When you have a dream, you can dream something that is completely literal, which most of the time, those are people who have prophetic premonitions, meaning that they see something in the dream and it happens exactly the way they saw it. Unfortunately, they see lots of deaths that come. They see things that are getting ready to happen. Most of the things that they see are not pleasant. They're ominous. They're warnings. There's something that is coming that a person needs to switch gears, change direction. When it's symbolic, this is the difference in the dream. I gave this example. I often give the same example when I'm teaching. And so you start your dream out, and the dream starts on the street that you live on. You are in your car that you drive today, and you come out of the house and come out of the house that you live in, into your driveway, into the car that you drive today to go pick up a friend to go to the theater to see a movie. You go to the theater in the neighborhood that you always go to. It's the same theater. You walk up to the ticket counter, pay for your ticket. The two of you go in. You have a great night, but something does happen during the night. That's literal. And that actual thing is going to happen later on down into the year, months, or in the future. Symbolic is you come out of the house you live in, get in the car that you drive today, drive to the theater, pick up your friend, drive to the theater. You both walk in, and when you go up to the ticket counter, a full-grown bear turns around and asks you, "May I help you?" That totally blows the literal meaning of the dream, and now you're going into symbols. You have to figure out what the bear means, who the bear represents, and you'll take it from there. So that is the rule for literal versus symbolic. Now, the most common animals in your dream are snakes, dogs, horses, spiders, cats, alligators, fish, and raccoons. These are the ones that show up in your dream mostly all the time. Snakes, as I mentioned before, and as I said, I teach from a faith-based, premise. So snakes always represent something that, is demonic, betrayal. It could, like I said before, it could be a person, but it's something that you need to be aware of. Snakes in your dream is a dire warning. It's something that is of utmost importance that you need to figure out what is going on in your life. It could be something concerning your job. It could be someone in your family. It could be a close friend in your circle. It could be in the corporate world where you need to know, why are you having a dream of the snake in your house? It depends on where the snake is at. That's another part of the message. If the snake is at your job, if it's you open your car door and it's in your car, it means so many different things where the snake is placed, because your car represents you. Automobile is your life, your profession. If you're in the ministry, it can represent ministry. It represents your career. It represents you personally. A car represents your actual personhood. Dogs are spirits. They're demonic spirits. I don't care what color they are. They represent demonic spirits, and they're never good. Horses represent time. You think about when you're racing a horse, you have a quarter horse. That's time. If the horse is in your bed, that's a real strong message. God is dealing with you about time. It could be that you're losing time, you're behind time. Typically, when horses are in the dream, you definitely are not where you need to be in your timeline in your life. Your purpose, what your purpose is, you are running behind time. Spiders are traps. You can walk right into a web and don't even know you're getting ready to do it until it's on your face and you're pulling it off. You can't see it. So spiders are traps. They represent a snare in your life that the Lord is warning you. There's a snare going on right now, and you are absolutely unaware, and you're getting ready to get caught up in it. Cats are just like dogs. They represent demonic spirits. Alligators are ancient spirits in your family, ancient problems like alcoholism. Let me see, any type of addiction. Alligators, when they represent ancient things, meaning as far as profession. One time I went to a doctor and his entire bloodline were doctors, his brothers, his uncle, his dad. So alligators typically don't represent anything good because they usually represent generational curses, but it depends on what the dream is about. Fish, people, they represent people. If it's in the ministry, then naturally it's talking about evangelism. But you have to set the animals in the context of your life and what is going on in your life currently. Who could this animal represent? Or is it just representing a characteristic, a personality, some type of situation that's going on? And that's why this animal has been inserted in your dream. Raccoon, as I said before, they're nocturnal. That represents something sneaky. Raccoons are sneaky. I mean, they're always in your garbage and stuff and doing things they have no business doing. You can't, if you see a raccoon in the daytime, they're sick, they're rabid, because raccoons are never running around the street at 12 noon. So that's a bad sign if you have a dream and it's a raccoon in the daytime. So colors, these are the main colors that you will see in your dream if you dream in color, and this is what they mean. Blue is the color of man. So as you can kind of see up here at the top of my screen, that light blue really represents the color of man. Darker blue is more talking about the ministry, something with the Holy Spirit. Yellow represents fear. I had a dream of a man that was leading a construction crew. And it was a construction crew of a project that he was a project manager on, but he was afraid of failing on this project. And his hard hat was yellow. That represented the fear in his life, because as we know, hard hats are typically white. Red represents passion. White represents purity. Black is ominous, something bad that's coming. Green is something brand new. It could be the birth of a child. It could be a brand new house that's coming, a brand new business. It could be some type of new adventure, but it's green is springtime. You know, the right before the summer. It's the spring of the year when something new is going to happen. Pink is always carnality. It's always flesh. And purple is raining. So when you have a dream and it's in purple, it's great, because it's something that you're getting ready to dominate in and really be awesome in. So I'm going to stop sharing here because everything else is a lot of the teaching that I do. I just hate I can't see you all, and I got to really hopefully get off here and figure out for the next group at 9:30 your time. I hope my camera's working, and if it's working, then I'm going to work on Zoom tomorrow and see what I did in my settings to turn my camera off.
All right, thanks, June. Do you have a minute if anybody has any questions?
Sure.
So if you guys do, just either unmute or raise your hand and. Okay, go ahead, Tim.
I got a question for you, June. Thank you so much for sharing, and I'm sorry you had the problems up there.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, because this is not the way I wanted to present. I have way more to present, an introduction and a closing and everything. So I'm really
It's
sorry.
all right. You got to go with it sometimes. So I appreciate you stepping up. My question is pretty simple. It's you have a lot of interpretations and things that are there. Do you have anything? Are they something that can be validated biblically, or is there any type of how did you discern this information?
That's
Can it be validated?
That's a wonderful question, and the answer is it's all validated biblically, and in my book, We Dream: Understanding God's Voice in the Night on Amazon. So I should connect that book here where they can purchase it. But yeah, everything is validated biblically. I give scriptures to back up everything I'm saying, even with the animals and even with people in your dreams. Everything that I interpret, I have scriptures that correlate with the interpretation. So the book has a lot of that in there that explains it. And then when I teach the class, that's why I keep saying it's faith-based, because I really go into the Bible. As you see, when I went to that slide that I turned off, it was from the book of Numbers, because people say, well, I don't know, I don't think God believes in numbers. I said, well, that's interesting, because he wrote a book and he named the book Numbers. So yeah, everything that I teach is backed up biblically.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Tim. Go ahead, Andrew. We'll take one more and then we'll let her get to her next meeting. So go ahead,
Thank
Andrew.
Okay, thank you. I found this fascinating. So I used to have a dream, I haven't had it in a while, where I woke up late and missed a class, or I didn't study for a class. I don't know how biblical this is, but I don't know if it's just because I was always worried about maybe not showing up on time for a class, et cetera, et cetera. But I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yes, absolutely, because that's a very common dream. And the Lord is telling you that, I hate to say it this way, but you're unprepared for an opportunity that's getting ready to come your way. That you're in, I don't know what you do as a profession, but whatever you do, the Lord is showing you that you're not ready, that you're unprepared, and you need to, really focus on whatever it is that you do as a career or whatever your gifts are, especially if you're gifted in something and you're not using the gift. God is saying, Andrew, you're not prepared for this opportunity that's going to come, that's going to really give you a chance to use your gift and make money with it. So that's what that dream means.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, thank you so much. I was trying to hit mute on and off. Thank you. That was fascinating. Thank you.
You're welcome. I wish I would love to stay and do a Q&A. Maybe you guys, once I get my camera fixed some other time, I can set up another spotlight and just make it a Q&A and come back.
Sure. Well, thank you so much, June. Sorry the camera didn't work, but you know what? You managed to get through it and convey great information. So thank you so much, and we appreciate you sharing all this with us.
You're welcome. And yeah, the dream class is on on the site, and all the biblical explanations and stuff are included in the video class. So it was great being with you all. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you, June. Okay, Sandra, I guess we'll switch over to Dr. Farabee.